Most people think they can't travel because they don't make enough money. But that's not actually the problem. The real reason is much more uncomfortable to admit, because it means we're the ones choosing it. There's a financial trap built into modern life that quietly trades your freedom for comfort, and once you fall into it, travel starts to feel irresponsible, unrealistic, or impossible. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what that trap is, how it controls your decisions, and how you can start escaping it without quitting your job or being rich. Part 1. The illusion of not enough money. When people say they can't afford to travel, what they usually mean is that travel doesn't fit into the life they've already built. The problem isn't income, it's commitment. Most of our money is pre-spent before we even receive it. Rent, car payments, subscriptions, eating out, upgrades, convenience fees. It all adds up to a lifestyle that demands constant income just to maintain. Travel feels expensive not because flights are impossible, but because every dollar already has a job. And the more you earn, the more polished and expensive that lifestyle often becomes. So instead of asking how to afford travel, most people quietly decide that travel is something for later, for retirement, or for someday. That's how the trap begins. You postpone experiences because you believe you need more money first, but in reality, what you would need is fewer fixed expenses and more flexible priorities. The scary part is that this cycle feels responsible. It feels mature. It feels like you're doing the right thing. But over time, you realize you've built a life that runs perfectly, as long as you never step away from it. Part 2. Lifestyle inflation and the comfort cage. Lifestyle inflation is when your spending rises every time your income rises, so you never actually feel richer. You just feel more comfortable. Better phone, nicer car, more, deliveries, bigger place, better clothes. None of these things are bad by themselves, but together they create what I call a comfort cage. You feel successful, but also stuck, because now you need your paycheck not just to survive, but to protect the lifestyle you've built. And that makes travel feel risky. Taking time off feels stressful. Spending money on experiences feels irresponsible when you're surrounded by payments and obligations. So instead of using extra income to buy freedom, we use it to buy stability and appearance. The trap is that comfort feels like progress, but it often reduces your flexibility. You have more to lose, more to maintain, and more reasons to delay big experiences. Over time, you start choosing short-term comfort over long-term memories without even realizing it. And the longer you stay in that comfort cage, the harder it becomes to imagine a different way of living. Part 3. Waiting for the right time. One of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves is that we'll travel when the timing is better, when work slows down, when we save more, when life is less busy. But life almost never becomes less busy. Responsibilities don't disappear, they multiply. There's always another reason to wait, and that reason always feels logical in the moment. But what you're really doing is trading years of potential experiences for a version of stability that never fully arrives. The problem with waiting is that you assume your energy, health, and curiosity will always be available later. But they aren't guaranteed. Travel takes more than money. It takes physical energy, emotional openness, and a willingness to be uncomfortable. Those things are easier when you're younger, but we often delay travel until we're older and more tired. So the trap becomes time-based, not just financial. You tell yourself you're being patient and responsible, but in reality, you're slowly teaching yourself that your dreams are optional and postponable. And once you get used to postponing what matters, it becomes your default way of living. Part 4. Fear disguised as responsibility. A lot of what keeps people from traveling isn't money. It's fear disguised as responsibility. Fear of falling behind at work. Fear of disappointing people. Fear of breaking routines that feel safe. So instead of saying, "I'm afraid to step out of this structure," we say, "Now isn't the right time." That sounds mature, but it keeps us in the same place year after year. Travel forces you to face uncertainty, and uncertainty is uncomfortable when your entire life is built around predictability. But growth rarely happens inside perfectly controlled routines. The longer you avoid disruption, the more fragile your comfort becomes. You start to feel like you can't leave, even when you technically could. And that's when work stops being just a job and becomes an anchor. The trap isn't that your life is bad. It's that it's so carefully structured that you're scared to step outside of it. And when fear is running your decisions, it will always choose safety over experience, even when experience is exactly what you need. Part 5. The true price of not traveling. People often talk about the cost of travel, but they rarely talk about the cost of not traveling. The cost of staying in the same environment, with the same routines, same conversations, same expectations. Over time, your world shrinks without you noticing. Your thinking becomes narrower. Your tolerance for discomfort gets lower. Your curiosity fades. Travel isn't just about photos or relaxation, it's about perspective. It shows you that people live differently, think differently, and define success differently. That perspective changes how you view your own problems and priorities. Without it, it's easy to believe that your current system is the only option, and that belief keeps you compliant, predictable, and easier to control by circumstances. The true loss isn't missing out on destinations, it's missing out on versions of yourself you could have discovered. Confidence grows when you navigate unfamiliar places. Creativity grows when you're exposed to new cultures. Gratitude grows when you see how little you actually need to be okay. Those are not luxuries, those are life skills. And when you skip them, you're paying with personal growth, not just money. Part 6. Redefining what affording travel means. Affording travel doesn't always mean having extra money. Often, it means designing a life with fewer fixed costs and more flexibility. That could mean living slightly smaller, driving something paid off, cooking more, or saying no to upgrades that don't actually improve your happiness. When you lower your baseline expenses, travel stops being a financial crisis and starts being a budget choice. The problem is that this kind of decision doesn't look impressive to other people. No one applauds you for not upgrading. But every expense you remove gives you more control over your time and options. Travel becomes possible when your life doesn't demand every dollar you earn. And once you experience that freedom, you realize how many purchases were really about status, convenience, or emotional comfort, not true satisfaction. This shift isn't about deprivation, it's about alignment. Choosing experiences over things doesn't make your life smaller, it makes it wider. And when your priorities change, your money naturally follows them. Part 7. Building travel into your life, not escaping from it. A lot of people treat travel as an escape from their real life, something they do once or twice a year before going back to normal. But a better approach is building a life that includes movement, not just tolerates it. That could mean choosing jobs that offer remote work, flexible schedules, or generous time off. It could mean stacking holidays with vacation days, taking shorter but more frequent trips, or slow traveling instead of expensive fast trips. When travel becomes part of your routine planning instead of a rare luxury, it stops feeling reckless and starts feeling normal. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start working with real ones. This mindset also reduces the pressure for every trip to be perfect, because you know there will be more. And that changes everything. You stop obsessing over luxury and start valuing presence. You stop needing big dramatic escapes and start enjoying small, consistent adventures. Travel becomes sustainable, not stressful. And that's how people who don't seem rich manage to go so often, not because they spend more, but because they structure their lives differently. Part 8. Choosing freedom over automatic living. At the end of the day, what stops most people from traveling isn't money. It's automatic living. Following routines and upgrades without ever asking if they actually match the life you want. Escaping that trap doesn't take rebellion, it takes intention. No one is coming to give you permission to live differently. That choice is always yours. And when you start choosing experiences over expectations, your world gets bigger in ways money alone never could. If you've been waiting for the perfect time to travel, let this be your reminder that perfect usually never comes. But small choices, made consistently, can change your entire direction. If this video helped you rethink money and freedom, hit subscribe, because this channel is all about building a life that feels bigger than your routine. And if you're ready to stop waiting and start living, your next step might be closer than you think.